Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Meelas, an Abu Dhabi Wargaming podcast. The Meelas podcast is hosted by me, Simon, and alongside me not only is Ibrahim, but for this episode we also welcome Suhail to the podcast. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
We are watched over in our hobby journeys, as ever, by the 4 cats of the Meelas, of whom they have all gone off to sleep somewhere else.
They got bored from our convo. But shout out to Muhammad, who joined us after listening to the last episode. And if you want to be like Muhammad and are interested in joining us at the Meelas in Abu Dhabi, then please visit our Instagram at ad.wargaming. Come and give us a follow and drop us a DM for our details.
Yeah, Mohammed was our first podcast listener who's joined the Meelas community after finding us online in this place. So hopefully the first of many.
We infected him.
As well as that, whatever platform you're listening to us on, we'd be honored if you'd give us a subscribe, a like, a comment, a rate, a share, anything of the usual algorithmically stimulating things to let us know what we've been doing that gets your virtual thumbs up. Also, a quick salute to Hopeless Heresy for following us. He's been doing some really informative guides for Heresy lately. He's been in my personal YouTube rotation for Heresy content, along with the likes of Heresy Hammer, Lost Legions, Honest Wargamer, and guys like that. And it's great to have you on board. That's enough calls to action, though. Right now, we have our karak and our Arabic coffee. So let's get right into it with our first topic. Ibrahim, what got played at the Meelas this week?
So we had some Heresy activity today, last weekend. You played a game with Levi? His first tutorial game, I think, yeah?
Yeah, Levi's a Heresy player since at least 2nd edition.
Okay.
So he knows what he's doing. It was originally going to be a tutorial game for Tyler, who couldn't make it. So he'll be hopefully doing that in the next edition of the Meelas.
How many points was it, Simon?
It was a 1,000 point game, which was
not bad.
I just brought out my Death Guard, who was a very narrative based on the Flight of the Eisenstein novel. Just infantry. Nathaniel Garrow's in there, Yachten Cruz is in there, just ordinary guys. And I gave my opponent my very meta 1,000 points of Blood Angels. So 2 tactical squads, mechanized in rhinos with Havoc launchers. There was a champion who's a paragon of battle, a predator, and also a 15-man assault squad.
I remember them.
So yeah, they've chopped you up a couple of times and run away a couple of times as well. And so, yeah, there's one very mechanized, very meta army versus one infantry army that the only scary thing is the Praetorian Command Squad, who just keep their 2-up save and mow through everything.
Just dummies to be beaten up. Basically.
Exactly. By the end of turn 1, half my army had been shot off the board already, because Levi knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And the only high spot really was that Praetorian Command Squad chewing through an entire tactical squad in 1 turn. And it was Garrow managed to kill the Paragon of Battle champion in a challenge.
Nice.
Which he shouldn't really have been able to do because it was an uphill fight.
Yeah.
But he was relying on his 4+ invulnerable and his slightly better than a Paragon Blade, Libertas, I think it's called, his sword. Then eventually killed him in a couple of rounds. And that was the only shining light of the Death Guard. Everybody else was just as slaughtered. It was
decimated.
Ouch.
But that wasn't the only game of Heresy.
No, there was also Baden versus Adams, Mechanicum. Baden was playing his World Eaters, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
It looked like I think.
Wasn't it a slugfest?
It was a slugfest. Yeah, it was. Baden won by a point. I think it was like 1918 or something, because they were doing the mission that's just basically kill points. There was no objectives.
Okay.
And Adam has refined his Mechanicum units and his army list more and more and more, and they've become a proper stand-back shooty army. And against Baden's World Eaters, that not quite the same list that he took to the SNGT in March. He still had the Contemptor Dreadnoughts coming out of the Assault Claws. He still had a bunch of guys running across the field, Spartan with the Tartaros Terminators coming out of it as a little Death Star.
Yeah, he did had the Vindicator as well, and there was another chassis with the plasma. What was that called, Simon?
I think it was a Predator.
Was it Predator?
Yeah, I think he has a
Hmm.
plasma Predator. Or it might have been a Volkite Predator, actually.
Most probably.
Yeah.
That he runs.
Baden loves his Volkite Predators.
He does.
Yeah.
I mean, they roll so many dice. They've deleted my assault squad. About 15-man guys are like, oh, there needs to be 15 of them because they're quite killable. But that Volkite is shooting like 13, 14, 15 shots a turn.
Right.
Then there's the deflagrate afterwards. It
Just to keep all
it's
spot.
mean as an anti-infantry because you just have to roll so many saves.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot of pain.
They both got first strike. There was a lot of horrible shooting and horrible decisions. Baden's assault claw got intercepted with one of his dreadnoughts in. And that was a case of, oh, we have to read the rules because that's not happened before because nothing's one-shot it on an intercept as it's come in on the table. It looked like a tough matchup.
Yeah.
And just being 1 point in it, I think, shows you how far that Adam's play style and his army has come along in terms of the Mechanicum.
Yeah, he's come a long way. Like, I remember the first few games he was just getting hammered, I guess. But now he knew that the secret is in the Castellaxes.
Yeah, and using all of his rules as well.
Also true, yeah, because playing Mechanicum is a whole different game.
It's just a lot of robots ending in axe, and I don't know the difference between any of them. But I think that was also the first game of Baden's campaign for this edition. Yeah.
Yes, it was. I guess they both got the XP. How did it work?
Up to 3 nominated characters get XP for killing things, winning challenges, I think claiming objectives.
Okay.
And you can then spend that XP on either skills or stat increases. And also there's relics that they can pick up as additional firepower. I think there's like a melee, a shooting, and an armor relic available across the 3 characters that you nominate.
And I remember there is like 3 different maps that you decide to attack.
So there's one that counts for a Zone Mortalis game only, which is like the station of the planet. There's one that's a regular game. There's one that is regular, but everything is dangerous terrain as well. So you've got the option of playing at one of these different venues, and whoever as an individual player has the most points in any of those 4 battlefields, they can get themselves a bonus to, I think it Seize the Initiative.
Yeah, because you controlled it, so you're already there. So it makes sense to have that initiative. And it's a really nice PDF layout. And for this time around, I think they went with no lawyers and traitors. Because last time it was interesting.
Last time the loyalists didn't win a game.
The new approach, I think, is better. It's more balanced. You have more armies to fight against rather than being stuck against fighting only the loyalists or traitors or whatever side you're on.
Yeah, it's a nice setup. He's put a lot of effort into making a nice looking like first edition PDF, looking a bit like a black book with all the like bits of lore in it and explaining everything clearly.
There was also the BattleTech game.
Yeah. I think was that Syed's first game of
Syed and Dima, yeah.
Yeah, it was Syed's first war game.
First war game.
Yeah. It's first time
rolling dice.
Dice with miniatures. I think he played before other games. I think they were playing BattleTech Alpha Strike, which is more like the skirmishy BattleTech. So many skirmishy games out there that you just have to start them all.
Yes,
play them all.
Play them all.
You gotta play them all, like just a Pokemon, but it's for board games or board games. But yeah, it looked fun. Dima brought some really nice terrain that looked very much in theme to the BattleTech universe. And yeah, overall the map looked gorgeous, and they seem like to have a lot of fun playing it.
Yeah, we have some pictures of all of those games that should be on our Insta at some point by the time this has come out. So I think everybody should be able to see those. But we are not the only place that you can play war games in Abu Dhabi.
No.
Because the Abu Dhabi Warhammer 40k GT happened over the weekend that gone past. I went down to have a little look at it. They were having it in Abu Dhabi Mall in the events and activations area that they kind of reserve. They've worked that out. Kind of Back to Games sponsored it.
Yeah.
And they got 26 players, I believe, down for the 2 days. and
That's amazing.
it went well by all accounts. Death Guard finished first and second, so maybe that means they're good.
Definitely means something.
It's nice to see other hobby going on in a properly public space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I passed by the second day. I went by to the store to get some paints, right? And then the guy told me there are a couple of games. You should go check it out. Like, all right. Head down the escalator, and then you see like a big poster. Like, that's where they are.
Yeah.
Walk all the way over there and stand by them. Hello, hello. The guys were too into it, man. Yeah, man, they were too into it. I just stood there smiling. I'm like, man, this wasn't available back in my time. But it's good to see, man. Yeah,
Yeah, it's growing.
it's growing, man. Yeah.
Shout out to James, who's usually on the battlefields of 30k with his Dark Angels and their War Crimes division.
Yes.
He was playing Astra Militarum for this
Yeah, nice.
and came 21st. So come back to Heresy. You keep beating us.
Yeah, his Dark Angels were scary back in second.
And also we can shout out to the Gyro Orc on Insta, because his Stomper was one of the best in show, best painted. I think we've reposted that because that's a cool
very
blue Stomper. I like
well done. Amazing job.
Really beautiful model.
Yeah, very, very nice.
Beautiful painting. Speaking of painting, we'll move on to what has been on the hobby tables of the Meelas this week.
I've been working on my Krieg, Simon. An old project, man. From 20 years back. So I finally found a group. You have to understand something, guys. I come from a group that never even talked about painting. They'd look at the codex, they'd look at all the magazines we had, they're like, yeah, it looks good, but I glued my army, let's play. Guys, but can we have some flavor? Can we... No, I glued my army, let's play. So to find a group that actually loves this aspect of the hobby, so good, man. So yeah, I've been busy painting my Kriegsmen, trying different color schemes. I think I found the right spot. Yeah, I think I found my grayish, bluish. I'll stick to the French theme. And,
they look good.
Looks all right. Yeah, I had a couple of trials, and I think the last one was good. But funny enough, I've recruited a small gremlin. So my daughter walked in. It was the other day. I was painting. Baba, what you doing? I'm painting. She's like, painting? I'd like to join. I go, oh, more than welcome. So I gave her the line of 20 Kriegsmen, gave her a paintbrush, gave her contrast paint. Paint here, here, here. So I pointed out where to, and she grabbed that brush and you just see that's this small tiny kid. Done. She went through them. It was an okay job, man. So if you do see a couple of Kriegermen with like blue here and blue there, don't judge.
I mean, child labor is very on brand for the Imperium anyway.
That's amazing. I tried to get a second gremlin to join. My son, he wouldn't have it, Simon. And he's like, he turned out to be like with the group. He's like, I'll roll the dice. I'll play the game with you. You do the painting. Yeah.
Give me the grey pile.
Yeah, give me the grey pile, yeah. So yeah, man, I've been, so I glued a hefty amount of Krieg. Now I'm going through the painting phase and focus on getting the color scheme right. Get a nice, maybe 1,000-point army ready.
Yes.
So I can actually play games. But you guys, I'm catching up for the years of neglect. I have years of wanting to paint and this hobby, that aspect of the hobby I never touched. So I'm in my happy little corner. Yeah.
No, man, it's always awesome having you.
Thanks, man.
Cultivating that part of the hobby. Especially, we said that before when we talked about how, having painted armies just sometimes...
The world of a difference, man. You have to understand, I came from a background of, 15 to 20 years of wargaming with grey armies. I was the only guy who fathomed the idea of painting. At least I bit the bullet and I painted our terrain. So our terrain was nice and colorful and thematic, but our armies were all the same.
They all start grey.
They all start grey, yeah.
It's just whether they are elevated from that position to being in full color.
Yeah.
For me, I'm surrounded with... you guys are experts, mashallah. So I'm surrounded with... I'm like, that's good motivation for me, man. So I got you, Simon, giving me pointers. I got Ibrahim here giving me pointers. So it's amazing, man. Yeah.
I do love that community hobbying. We're all doing different things, different systems, different stages. Some people are building, some people are undercoating, base coating, highlighting.
Yep.
Some are using oil paints and washes. Some are using grimes and streaks and things. Others are just putting a contrast paint and a bit of a highlight. And it's just all different types are here, whether you've just picked up a brush or whether you've been doing it for 30 years.
Definitely. Inspiration's my number one thing, man. I walk in, I'm like, yeah, I got the juice. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Enjoy the light, brother.
Yeah, man, it's wonderful.
Well, you know what they say about painting time? That 40 minutes that you devote to painting, for 2 hours, that's the best 5 hours of your life.
True. Yeah, I realized that recently. Like, last Saturday, I spent 12 hours painting. I painted Custodes, and then I jumped to the Blood Bowl, Imperial Nobility.
And then you had your Infinity.
And then at the end, after my GW shift ended,
GW shift.
yeah, I ended it with like some more art for Infinity.
Nice.
Yeah, what about you, Simon? What have you been up to?
I've been doing some of my Grey Slayers. Of the 25, I'm nearly done with the first squad of 10.
All right.
I just need some transfers, some bit of weathering, a little bit more snow on the bases and shoulders and stuff, and then they should be done. Then I need to move on to, I'm not sure I can take another 15 of the same thing straight after, so I might either pick up a character. I think the Caster of Runes that I'm using in Terminator armor might be a good shout for that. Just give a bit of difference.
Nice.
Before going back to the 15. Yeah, just the pile is slowly heading its way down for me to think about what the next project is. But let's finish these Space Wolves. Let's get some dice rolled with them. Then I'll pick another topic.
We need to learn that.
We have a problem, right? yeah, we do. Yeah.
That's starting new armies every week. It's becoming a problem, but I think we're healing. We're
I am. I've learned some discipline, so I'm sticking to the Krieg. I got some of the OG Forge World. I got some of the recast Forge World, the plastic miniatures, and I've found a couple of third parties. So you have the Tiny Legends, wonderful sculpts, and I think I found my. It's going to be a mix of Tiny Legends with old Forge World plastic, and I think that's it. And it's just I think I have enough troops. Now I need to support them. So artillery, tanks. Once that gets over with, then we can go back to looking into multiple systems and multiple armies. Yeah. And I'm interested as well in Blood Bowl. You guys.
See, I wasn't even selling Blood particularly, and it's just such an interesting game.
Simon, you are just, what did you say? I just preach, right? you do it well, my friend.
I am just a humble creature.
bearer of the word.
Bearer of the word, huh?
Just call me Lorgar,
Lorgar would be proud.
He would actually.
Maybe that's that's the next Heresy army.
Honestly, there's a third-party Lorgar. You can find it on Wargame exclusive under the Chaos Primes. That Lorgar model I really love. It would match really nicely my Magnus the Red from the same author. And I really want to paint an ash grey with bright gold. Just want to do the Lorgar. I don't want the Word Bearer's army. I just have an urge to paint Lorgar. Just because I think I slightly personally identify him with the preaching of the heresy word.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
you've been doing really well with that.
But you talk about that you're healing with your various armies, and there's literally Drop Fleet Commander.
So,
yes. Explain yourself.
About that. So Adam wanted to do a game of Drop Fleet, and I only have one fleet. So I already had some Scourge from a while back. I was going to say 2 weeks, but a while back.
That's a while back, huh?
That's a while back. I mean,
a while back,
it was time that has passed, So I just built them to try out Drop Fleet with Adam for this coming weekend. Painting Drop Fleet is pretty much straightforward, especially for Scourge. And some factions, you can just spend 95% of the army just airbrushed, call it done. Doesn't really need much work. But yeah, it's a fun game. I love it. But there's it's just me and Zahin right now.
You immediately connected with it.
I always loved spaceship
Mm.
vibe battles.
Yeah, there's
We-
a sense, yeah.
Yeah, we're also in Gothic, I think. Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Here we go again.
Here we go.
There we go again.
Yeah, we'll try it out.
Oh,
See if we like it,
sure.
and then
Why
move
not?
to either go all in or okay. That satisfied the itch.
Itch of the month, yeah.
Itch of the month. Yeah, exactly. New month, new game. Like that's gonna be the rhyme, I guess now.
Wait for a small scale spaceship battles game and then two come along at once.
Yes, somehow. It's a gift, It's but we were also talking, me and Baden, about some like fantasy ships. I'm not sure about the rules, but the models look a lot like Man of War. So, there's potential there.
There's potential.
Yeah. I'm bringing new games on every episode. I thought it was healing. Yeah, I don't think I am. No, I take that back. I take that back.
kind of why I brought it up.
Yeah. It was just like gotcha. Healing, huh?
Well,
Healing.
the intent is to get healed.
I love trying out new games. War games are fun.
It is.
Discovering different rules is always fun.
Yeah.
Reading different rules is always fun. It's like getting into the mind of the creators of those games
Yeah.
and seeing how they like stuff. And like some you'd see like specific things across different game systems that they made.
Right.
You see that vibe that he goes with, and then you kind of stick with it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with wargaming.
Like we know a Michael Bay movie, like we know a Thomas Pirenin
Mm-hmm.
fantasy
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
game set. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Which is, it's nice.
See, back then I never had the luxury of this.
This insanity of 9 different game systems in one day.
Yeah, because it wasn't available. It wasn't. I think it was just Warhammer 40k, and Infinity came later.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the mindset was off. We only had this is what a wargaming game was.
Yeah.
We didn't have this luxury of no, you can look at skirmish, you can look at that. Yet it wasn't available back then. So that's why I think if you look at my old geezer group, if you start talking skirmish, they look at you. What? No, I got my 40k army. I'm ready to play.
We actually gave Muhammad Hashmi
Yeah,
an Infinity tutorial,
I know.
and he almost got into Oban,
Yeah.
but he then never came back.
I know what he did. He went and he purchased 3 other armies at
He's
40k,
cool.
and he's just he's
He's all in for
too deep into 40k. Yeah. He keeps calling me. He's like, "Come over. Let's show you the wargaming table." I'm like, "What?" I walk into the room, and lo and behold, all 4 of them are playing 40k. I'm like, "Not bad."
Yeah.
So then he's like, "Oh, you get your army." That was when I just started. When you drew me back in, I told him, "No. I want to do it proper this time. I'm not falling into your trap.
Yeah.
Let me do it the proper way. Gotta build the army slowly, paint them, find my scheme, and enjoy the process. I don't want to do it how we used to do it 20 years ago. You got 10 minutes to glue your army. Let's play."
I think this time around it's about the journey.
That's the journey now. Yeah, I want to enjoy the journey. Yes. I love the discussions and all the history behind, or the ideas behind your creations. Simon tells me I did this and I had this, and I'm like, I love it, man. I never had that dialogue. Yeah. So yeah, it's a different experience this time for me. The round 2 of the hobby, right? Yeah, I'm loving it.
The great return, man.
The great return, huh? Thanks, man. Yeah.
This actually is really good to lead us into our main topic for what we wanted to be talking about today,
Yeah.
which is how do we do wargaming in the UAE?
Mm.
And particularly how it used to be versus how it is now.
All right.
So if I can kind of contrast it with how it has been in the UK,
Mm.
there's always a Games Workshop store, Warhammer store now, either in your town or in the next town over. So for me, I grew up in a village in the middle of nowhere. There was like a 45-minute drive to the nearest Games Workshop in Stoke-on-Trent, in the Hanley store.
Mm.
Then later in life, when I moved around for work and such, there was a local Games Workshop 1 town over, basically. It was never more than 15, 20 minutes away to get to a Games Workshop store, pick up models, have games,
Nice.
etc.
Nice.
Back in the old days, there'd be 2 staff working there, and there'd usually be either a back room or an upstairs where there was 5, 6, maybe more tables set up, and you just go along and play. There'd be what they'd call a veterans night, where you can come and just play all evening one night.
Simon, that's actually interesting. I wish I could experience that. Just walk in and then you have that full-fledged, dedicated store. Yeah.
But they
Well-
don't do that now. Now in the UK, a Warhammer store is 1 or 2 4x4 tables just for introductory games.
Okay.
And it's a case of, what are you going to buy? Off you go.
Oh, it's no longer a dedicated place for games and whatnot.
They do have a table or two
But
usually.
it's just for the
Tutorials, I guess.
Yeah, it's for like, either we're running a little event on the weekend and here's all the teenagers partaking part in it because they've got nowhere else to go,
I see.
or it's buy your models, off you go, because the community is no longer in the store.
Uh-huh.
The community is outside. It's on the Facebook groups. It's in the friendly local gaming stores. It's in the town hall,
Gotcha.
rented once a week by somebody who wants to run a
Gotcha.
club.
Yeah.
It's kind of gone away from that being store-centered to being much more widespread,
Mm.
which is a little bit more like it is here, only
It
not
is.
through the official channels.
Right.
So like that's the kind of the UK experience. What did it used to be like, Suhail, back in the day?
So I'll have to give you, oh man, back to memory lane. So there wasn't a shop for the longest period of time, but we used to have, the shop still exists till today, Josh and Mall, if you guys are aware of it. So there was this little corner in Josh and Mall where they would sell magazines, and they would label them foreign magazines, shamelessly. So you'd walk in and we would be curious, and there was a nice White Dwarf magazine. So we picked it up, and you'd flip through the pages, and lo and behold, one shop in the UAE. What? We have a shop here? And that's how we found out there was an actual shop, Sheikh Zayed Road. And we jumped in the car like lunatics. We drove all the way to Dubai on a mission to get into the store and see and experience Games Workshop shop. Walked in, hello, assalamu alaikum, and we were greeted by a Filipino guy. He sat on his table, Simon. He had his custom-made rock as terrain. He was working on his terrain, foam core, whatever it was. And it's just a wall of blisters. No boxes, nothing, no GW signs, no nothing, just blisters, wall of metal miniatures. And it was something else, man. We just stood there in awe. What? We didn't have a comparison. So I never knew what a Games Workshop, I thought this was it. So we had to order the box sets from UK. I had to actually call them and ring them in. We took it from there, and years of us being in exile, thinking we're the only people who discovered Warhammer. That small shop was the anchor because I didn't know people would actually wargamed in Abu Dhabi. And now you have to understand, guys, this is where the initial times of Samha, that's where we were always hiding. So it was the Meelas 1.0. This is Meelas 2.0, by the way. Yes. So I had the Meelas 1.0 over in Samha. It's a drive. It's like a half an hour drive outside of Abu Dhabi. So we set up the tables and whatnot. Yeah. And that was it, man, growing up. And then I would hear in the background, Magrudi's picked it up. I'm like, oh, nice, Magrudi's. And Dubai's scene blew up very, very nicely. And I remember Park and Shop picked it up. They had a little corner in Park and Shop. And then at the back end, over time, they would scoot over the items and say, no, Games Work or Wargaming community is growing. Slowly, they started to decorate the place. They had a nice table. They got more boxes. It was just a small registrar at the beginning. And then I would come in and drive by to Dubai from time to time, like, wow, the community is growing, nice. And they'd set up tables by the curb, and they would get nice, let's say, covers. And eventually they hit the point they're like, we can't sustain this. There's too many people, and this is a small place. And then it moved on to another place, Battle Zone, was it called?
There were two stores, Battle Zone,
Yeah.
but I don't remember the other one.
Man, and it just blew up. Dubai picked it up very well. Abu Dhabi, unfortunately, the Jazeera Club died out, and Back to Games came in way later into the scene because we were out of the, let's say, scene for a while because we bowed out at 7th edition, and lo and behold, I'm back in 10th.
When it comes to wargaming now
Yeah,
in the UAE,
yeah,
you have the Back to Games store.
we do.
Two in Dubai, one in Abu Dhabi,
Yes.
which is the nerd hotspot in terms of places to buy it in person.
Right.
As they'll put you in contact in a WhatsApp group, like most of the WhatsApp groups are. You start off in like the Back to Games overall group, and then kind of split off into your individual games that you play or other communities, or however it comes out best for you. And so it's a lot more scattered, I think, that you can just find people who are just playing randomly, and only if you've got that way in through the store. Like I remember when I picked up my Age of Saturnine box on launch day from B2G, and there was a guy I saw there who was buying it like 10:05. The store had just opened on the day of release, and he's obviously keen. And I said, "Oh, you're in the WhatsApp group?" No.
That's what they did to me as well.
He's obviously, this guy was playing it. He was excited about it, wanted to get it, but must be in a very small little group somewhere if he's got no connection to what basically is the community. Because I mean, the Dubai WhatsApp group's got 320, 350 people in it.
Mashallah.
And so there's clearly more people than that who are playing here.
Yes.
But they're just not connected from finding it. Because you can order online, you can shop and ship, you can get your recast, you can get your third parties, everything can be delivered straight to your doorstep. It's not like the old days, even in the UK, you'd ring up the mail order trolls, they were called. And like you'd flick to the back of your white dwarf, and each part would have its own number.
Yeah.
So you'd call up them on the phone and say, "Hey, I want this part, I want this part, I want this part, and this part, and this part, and this part." Read off all these handy 58-digit numbers. And then somebody physically would have to go to all the different bins, pick up the pieces you wanted, stick them all in a white cream box. We had Games Workshop in massive letters on the front of it. And it was like, "You have any issues? Pick up the phone, call the mail order trolls." I'm thinking, can you refer to your factory and warehouse staff as trolls? Possibly not.
Not anymore, at least. Definitely not anymore.
Whereas now it's, you just pick up the bottle online and buy it. You don't get the parts. And if you want parts, you go to Bits Sites or Troll Trader or something like that. GW, like any other manufacturing company, are always really good with, "I had a sprue missing. There was damage on it. There was this, there was that." They'll usually just send you out the whole box again.
That's right.
Yeah. Even like other resin kits, they're very helpful on those.
I got that treatment with my first order from Ford World, the Warhound Titan. I ordered, and the pieces, something was off. I don't recall. It's too long. And then I called them up, and they're like, "Yep, we're sending you a new one." "Oh, should I send the one I have back?" No, you can keep it. No, let's keep it as a memento." All right.
Yeah, we're good with
But
that.
the first time I ever picked up the phone and called Games Workshop was when the release of the Land Raider, the plastic Land Raider, when it first got released. Back in the before time, picked them up. "Send me 6 Land Raiders now." Yeah. I don't know why you need 6 Land Raiders. I did anyways. Yeah. I had them like, I'm gonna mess up the first one, so I'll then have 5 spare. I'll have 1 painted for my commander, and then 3 would be the actual heavy support, and then 1 would be painted a different scheme for my Terminators. Yeah, it was silly as that. I think it was a couple of White Dwarfs afterwards where they said you can build your own vehicle. I'm like, let me order 4 more Land Raiders and make a mega Land Raider. And that's what I did, man. So I squished 4 Land Raiders. I called it the Land Raider. Yeah, I wasn't that creative. But yeah, I built that, man. That was the scratch build, my first.
Surely that becomes the Land Cruiser. Or is that the Patrol? I don't know.
Shuf, if you were there, Simon, I would have called it the Land Cruiser. See? Yes. I'll pretend I called it the Land Cruiser. So I called it the Land Cruiser.
You can edit that or something. Yeah. We can fix that in post.
That was awesome, man. Yeah, good days, man.
So Wargaming in the UAE is specifically about which group you're in.
Yes.
I mean, it always has been, but
True.
now that we've got the opportunity to connect with so many people, including through podcast means, what is it that the Meelas can do for people who want to start wargaming or have just heard about it or taking their first steps in their first box? Maybe it's they've seen 11th edition and want to pick it up. What is it that the Meelas can do for them?
I think we got really good at, not bragging, but at giving tutorials.
That's right.
And learning new game systems, regardless of how complex they can be or new or untouched or whatever.
Yeah.
We've been experimenting a lot with different games. And for the first 3 months of this year, we were mainly giving tutorials for Heresy and Infinity. Like that was the whole thing that we were doing. Like there were almost only a few games going around, but the majority of it were tutorials. Even I think when people can come with their own games, I think in with Dima where he brought BattleTech and we learned it as well. And also like the diversity in the painting styles that we have. So if you wanna do like speed painting, yeah, for some of us do that. You wanna spend 100 hours on one guy. I mean, you know yourself, you know.
Yes.
Shout out to Jagosh, the grand master of painting.
Yes.
The tips he will give you will change the way you look at your model and change the way you look at painting.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if you want to paint the G-dub style,
Yes,
the base, wash, highlight,
that's also.
we know how to do that as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I think we have the whole spectrum, honestly, of painting.
Yep.
You want to get out a sponge and start stippling and that kind of thing. Like we can work it out and give you the tips and
Yeah,
Yes.
and how to do it.
it's mainly from experience and from messing up our own models,
Mm-hmm.
so you won't have to mess up yours.
Yeah. The right tools as well, like whether it's the is it the Tamiya glue, is the Gorilla glue, is it all the different things that we use that we find useful and that somebody uses once and then the rest of us go, oh, that will change the way I work, and then
Exactly.
suddenly we all pick up the same thing
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
use it going forward.
Especially for a hobby like ours, which is a bit intimidating to start with.
Mm.
I think our community provides a really nice space to start from.
Right.
Like if you never really played a war game before, never built a miniature before, never even thought that you could, I think we really facilitate that in our little space that we have here.
Yeah.
We have a lot of guys now. I mean, Khalid and Said used to do Age of Sigmar, and we got them into Infinity. Said is also into the Heresy now.
Mm-hmm.
Zaid are also going to be playing a game this weekend. Not sure what yet, but we'll be definitely rolling some dice.
Definitely the passion is there, Ibrahim. And the best part is that we share the passion. So the minute you walk in, you feel the enthusiasm, and we're always happy to share it. It's just feel like it's just a pile of buddies who come together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I felt from day one. I think that's the experience you get to have, yeah.
We've all picked up something
Mm-hmm.
or taken part in something that we've not done before.
That's right.
And whether it's a type of war game or a type of miniature game. I mean, I had people role-playing who had never done it before. The very first time I got Ibrahim to role-play,
Yeah, I'm guilty.
I let somebody else role-play first to kind of give you, as I was running this game, to kind of give you the taste of it. And the question was, as we were in this tavern, what are you drinking? And immediately, Ibrahim kind of sits a bit taller, kind of raises his chin a little bit, and is just inhabiting this character automatically. He was playing an elf mage.
Yeah.
And immediately you're just saying, water, of course. And I'm like, he's in. He's role-playing. You thought it would be a bit cringe?
Yeah.
Because you've played RPGs online,
Yeah.
but you've never actually inhabited a character and acted as a character. And from that moment, I was like, if he wasn't a role player before, he is now.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't. But it's also about the group you're playing with. So if others were actually role playing, it becomes easier for you. There's less pressure. Like you don't feel out of sync with the others. So it's always, you just need one person to start it so that you can create this chain effect of all the others also doing the same.
That's how I ran it, that game,
Yeah.
because I thought one person here, other than me as a DM, has role played before. And well, I'll ask them to take the lead. And so they start the scene of what's going on in this tavern, just as an intro to find out who your character is. And then when it then comes to you, that's the way that you do it. So you go, okay, I'll follow along, and you were in it from the beginning, and I loved it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
And as we went through into the One Ring as well, you took that experience, and you kind of had your idea of what your dwarf was like before we even sat down. Just like read the character sheet and went, okay, he's like this, and off you went.
I made a fake accent and didn't catch on because it was just too much to do. So I was like, guys, just pretend that I'm saying it in that accent. So yeah, that was fun.
Doing the voice can be fun. It can also be a drain on you because you have to think about it too much.
Yes.
So whether you want to do a voice or not in a roleplay, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You want to say, I say this, my character says this, he says this, his name says it, whatever. You can do it any way you like and with RPGs.
You should try it actually, Suhail.
Why not?
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Have you played D&D before?
We've played Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah.
We had a whole session with that.
You got to sit around being very emo, cursed by
Yep.
this blessing.
With my honorable cape. I had to make sure always reminded the group I have a wonderful cape and wonderful. It's just like cracking up every time. I walk around with my wonder. I just made it my thing. I have my cape. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we did. Yeah, we did that for a while, and then we went back to 40k. I was so happy, man. Diversify. That's why I picked up Battlefield Gothic. Right.
Yes.
I had a whole vision for how we could step outside the bubble of 40k. I was very, very happy that we tried the RPG. You've dragged me back.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Ibrahim, because you have to know this guy was trying for years. When I first met this gentleman, it was me officially ending my relationship with Wargaming. I did a garage sale, and I had people I've never met in my life drive all the way to Samha. They walked into a gigantic pile of shame, got rid of it, because I was just collecting dust, and I felt bad. And that's when I met you, Ibrahim, right?
I remember when I texted you, like you sent this picture of this giant place filled to the roof, basically.
Yeah, to the roof, basically.
With boxes and miniatures, and I was like,
Yeah, man.
I need to know the story behind this place. Like, what happened here? What kind of legendary spot that exists in this place?
And it feels a lot more dangerous to be going.
Enter at your own risk.
But to be fair, a lot of the stuff that were in Samha,
we've scavenged them back here.
Yeah.
Yes, so I'm happy at least they've found a proper place.
Yeah.
So the thing about the Meelas that you don't realize until you get here is that it's not just miniatures and terrain on the shelves. There is 2 display cases just full of rule books.
Yes.
Now there's White Dwarfs, there's Heresy, there's Old World, there's Imperial Armor, there's I don't even know how many editions of 40k. I can see Leviathan all the way back to, I think, 3rd or 4th back on the shelf over there.
Yeah, 3rd, yeah.
All through Imperial Armor and like the kind of pre-Badab style. I can see Rogue Trader. I can see Realms of Chaos.
Suhail also gave me the Badab.
Badabor, yes.
Yes. Man, it's a gorgeous box. You got also the limited edition one. It wasn't just the normal.
Correct. That was the first attempt of me diverging the group away from 40k. Try something else, and then the idea was to steer them to Heresy.
You also had the first black book.
Yeah. And I'm happy, Simon, because there's a secret, or not a secret, that's something I never shared with Simon. Space Wolves were my buddies growing up wargaming, because I was the Crimson Fist, obviously, the best chapter. And then Space Wolves was my partner. I was always getting beaten up by the other, the Orcs, Necrons, Sisters, Tau, Eldar. So I never had a Imperial buddy. And then lo and behold, this Space Wolf player comes, and we were best buddies all growing up. So Simon, when I see him painting Space Wolf, I'm like, my buddy, my buddy. Once it's done, you see my Imperial Fist and your Space Wolf, we will team up. Yes.
I had a very similar experience as a kid, in that my 2nd edition Blood Angels were always beaten. I don't think I won a game of 2nd edition ever.
Ever, huh?
Against my friends Eldar. It's Eldar in 2,000 or so points had Jane Zar, Fugan, Mogunra,
but Eldar,
Karandras, like 2/3 of the Phoenix Lords. And there's me with like a captain, a tactical squad, a rhino. Like I had no chance against that army.
Eldar were broken in every edition, and it was a given. I think 10th edition, they're still rocking.
There was a point in 10th where they were unrealistically broken.
There you go.
And then but the thing is, the way that 40k works in their quarterly rules adjustments, and they just tweak it every so often, like it's an MMO. Like, oh, we've nerfed this, we've buffed this. Just to keep those win rates within like 20% of each other. Not that they could do that in 1994. It was just, well, don't play it then.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed that.
Yeah, the concept's a bit foreign for me,
Yeah.
Ibrahim. This constant change. I
rules
come-
and so,
Yeah, I come from an era where you pick up your codex and might as well play the codex. But yeah, now this every 3-year churn and the balance ups, and then I can't keep up, man. But nonetheless, we will try 11th. We'll give it a shot.
Definitely.
Yes, I will keep preaching. We'll try. We'll roll some dice 11th and try it out.
Because what's the worst that can happen? You just go, oh, I don't like that. Never mind.
Exactly. And then we go back to our first loves. Yeah.
Are you going to tell Simon about our plan for this coming weekend?
Am I
1K?
being ambushed?
The 1K, yes. Yes.
Are you going to take me to Samha? And
I will.
And show you 1K points of armies. No, go ahead.
We're going to play our first 10th edition and last 10th edition game.
Just for the lulz.
Just for the laws and for that checklist saying,
Yeah.
did you try 10th? Yes.
Done.
So we people won't judge us. They say, how can you hate on it and not have tried it? I'm like, no, I did.
Yeah.
I did play my one game.
We're gonna be playing Death Guard versus Creek. Yeah.
The Krieg, yes.
Yes.
We'll have a 1K.
I mean, we just want to roll some dice.
We'll roll some dice.
See how it works.
Yes.
Then
I'll tell you from now, anticipate 30 horses. There will be 30 horsemen charging at you with spears.
yeah.
If they die running towards you, don't mind them.
Yeah.
At least 15 will get to you.
I mean, it's gonna take me like all 5 turns just to get to you to begin with as Death Guard.
Don't worry, I'll charge into you.
Nice.
so we'll make up for your lack of speed by charging towards you.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly what I need. Yeah. I think on the staying with the same codex for a few editions, it was like that for Age of Sigmar,
Ah.
where some armies got stuck with the same codex until the 3rd edition.
Okay.
And honestly, I loved Magotkin in 2nd and 3rd.
And you have
Because,
beautifully painted army.
Thank you.
Beautifully painted. Masterclass, mashallah.
I watched a lot of Cult of Paint to do that verdigris gold.
Hmm.
So it wasn't really my recipe or anything. I just copied them.
But still, you went through the effort, and it's beautifully done.
Thank you, brother.
Yes.
Always fun to paint Nurgle. It's the easiest thing to do. Like takes almost nothing because it's just like the dirtiest of guys. Like you can't go wrong with them. I think it's one of the best armies to start painting with. It's even easier than Space Marines because you don't have bolters, you don't have those arm things, you don't have trims. It's just like green blob with a horn and a rusty sword. Done. So yeah, that's why I have like
Makes
90 plague bearers.
You can paint them without painting them in that style. You
That's
can just-
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
if they come out looking like a pustulant mess, amazing. That's
That's the
bang on for
point.
them.
Yeah, exactly. Good job. Amazing work. Yeah. Because when someone is starting to paint, it's some things feel actually very weird, like the using the brush and when do you dry it and whatever. So sometimes starting with an easy army is good, at least as a test paint. But of course, always rule of cool, because you could find an army that's easy to paint, but you hate it. You don't think it looks cool. What's the point? 2 models in and you're already given up.
That's the attitude I had with all my years of wargaming. I'm not sure. Maybe, Simon, you'd be... Is Warseer still active, the forums?
That's a good question. It's been a very long time.
It's been a
since
very
I've
long
used
time.
Warseer.
I would always dabble into Warseer, check out what's the meta, what's the strong list. I'm like, hey, am I a smart boy? Am I reading the codex right? Am I an evil genius? So I'd go to Warseer. I'm like, nope, I'm a total fool. I don't know how to build an army. Yeah.
I feel like forums started to go away as communities could be built on Discord, WhatsApp, social media as well. Like you look at Heresy Hammer, tabletop battles, they don't need forums because you have comments, you have a Discord you join, and then everything's gone that way, and they have all of their advice. And it's kind of given to you by people who are clever rather than the community working it out themselves a bit more.
I think the majority of forums just moved to Reddit because it's just the same thing but on a more specialized bit.
Maybe.
And like 1D4chan as well. That's another place for these things.
Yeah, but back then, man, I used to compare my notes because, wouldn't you believe it? We had to write our list on a paper.
Yes, I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, you saw it, right? I showed you my antiques, my PhD. my thesis, writing army lists down with a pencil. That's 40 points for this dude with a 5-point upgrade here and there. Yeah, and then I would compare my list to Wars here. I'm like, yeah, I'm a total fool. I've never seen. But I always follow the rule of cool. I don't care if I get destroyed, but I'm gonna charge in with 10 termies with the captain, Terminator armor. That's expensive, like 500 points right there. And then the rest is just tactical marines. And then you come in with a meta army. Of course, you're gonna wipe me off the table. Yeah.
I'm planning on bringing as many plague marines and poxwalkers I can bring.
See, it was thematic, and I'm pretty sure moving forward with the group here would be based on those silly games. With,
Yeah,
you know, a thematic.
It's theme over anything.
Yes, rule of cool. Just let's play. The purpose I've come here to have fun.
Yeah, not to get my.
No, I don't want. We play to have fun, right? I know some have a different concept. They say they play to win.
No.
I've never sided on that argument. I just want to roll some dice and laugh with you and have a good time. And then hopefully sometime in the future say, do you remember my first game with Simon? I will never forget. That was the best intro game to any system ever. That Heresy game, that 500-point game, etched in memory. I will always remember every single interaction. I'll remember it. Simon pulled it off by running away with a cigarette in his mouth and saying, nice try. And then he walked off, you know.
The champion stepped in, took out your centurion. Everything else died.
Yes.
He fled, but mission complete.
Exactly, see?
There's explosions behind
You
him.
can't.
Good guys don't look at explosions. They just slowly walk away.
Simon, that will never, I'm sure it will never happen again. But see, that's it. That's etched in my memory, saved in my vault. I'll always remember that. That's how I look into it. I want to create more of those.
Memories.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, power gaming I get it. Some people are into that, but you know the whole concept of Warhammer is you're in it because of the background, you know, of the lore of this giant universe of almost hundreds of books now, and you want your armies to represent that universe. You don't want them to just be, you know, oh yeah, I'm gonna take like 20 plasma guys and 2 knights because that's meta. Like, no, come on, man. Like, that's not it. That's not what we're playing for.
That's not it.
That's not what
You
we're
wouldn't
running.
read that army existing in a book. That's not how combined armies work. That's not how narrative works. And I think the narrative and the background, the look, the feel, everything that goes into that is what makes you want to play it. Because there's dozens of ways to be clever and beat somebody and maximize rules. But for me, it's about having the fun.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it'll be cool if my army is a little bit optimized and works and does what I want it to do. And I'm not actively hamstringing myself by taking 2 units that don't worked well together. Yeah, this is my really terrible army. You know, we don't like that because it doesn't help make it fun. So there's a line between this is an army that beats other armies and this is something realistic to the setting.
Right.
And somewhere in between there, I think most of us find, this is pretty good, but it's not oppressive. Maybe not optimal at all, but I like it. I find it fun, so I'm using it.
Yeah. I remember in 2nd edition, I wanted to do with my World Eaters full Speed Freaks army, where they would all be like the bikers. What are they called?
Oh, the scimitar jetbikes.
Exactly, those. And then like 2 gunships with them. And it sucked. Like the idea, like there's no way this would win anything. But like conceptually, it seemed so cool. Almost did it. I would have loved to play that. I still think I would love to play it.
With you though, every time I think of a new army, I think, I could have a whole bunch of jet bikes. That would be cool. That would be fun. And then the expense, the build, the lack of usefulness on the field, and go, it'll be fun, it'll be narrative, but it's a lot of effort to not win any games and not be useful on the board.
That'll be useful, yeah.
Yeah, like you want to be narrative. You want to stick with it. Of course, you don't want to get beaten up every time.
Not badly. Not badly, yes.
Get beaten up.
That's my concept. Not
demolished
badly.
in turn 2, like table down 2.
I don't mind losing, but let's at least have fun while at
Exactly,
and not just be ground into the dust.
Yeah. Like, I don't mind losing. Sometimes, you know, it's fun to lose because some fun stuff happen.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get tabled, like in turn 2 or 3. Like, that's why are we playing at that point?
Look at me, Ibrahim. The first model I put together after a 15-year or 10-year break was a sergeant with a fist, had a banner with a fist, shoulder pad with a fist. So I went to full-on thematic.
Yes.
And you can bet every single dude that can take a power fist will have a power fist. Yes. Useful? I don't know. Looks cool? Yes.
Sold.
If you hadn't noticed, Suhail really likes the Imperial Fists.
I do. Any excuse to hold a fist. Yeah. So yeah, even my scout sergeant, I know they don't exist in Heresy, but if we had scouts, he'd have a power fist.
There's recon.
I'm not sure they can have power fists, even on the sergeant. I would have to check.
I would model one with
We'll
a
make it
fist,
work for
but they would never use it. He'd hold a sniper with a power fist.
One hand. No.
One hand, yes.
Yeah.
One hand up in the air. Shoot there. Another.
Just holding the sniper and aiming with the fist.
Yes, that's it, man. That's it. Even back then, when in 4th edition, 3rd edition, they were bad, and no one ever took power fists. I took them all the time.
Nice.
He's a true son of Dawn.
Son of Dorn, yes.
That's why we're gonna deal with
What?
60 poxwalkers this weekend.
Oh man, it's gonna
They're-
be interesting. Horde versus Horde.
Yes.
All right.
Full on horde.
Full on Horde.
As
versus...
long as you're bringing the dustpan and brush to take them off
Yes.
the table.
I'll get my
I'll have a
shovel.
trash bin on the side. I'm
Right.
just gonna shove them in. Yeah, just in droves as they
Way
get
of
charged
saying-
in.
Your way of saying goodbye to 10th edition, just
Yeah.
in the trash.
The
Yeah,
trash,
trash, yeah.
But I do miss. There is something about the current, let's say, state of wargaming. Maybe for 40k because it's the most popular one. I remember the days where we'd spend hours. Should I spend the 5 points and get a melter bomb? I have 15 points to spare. I'll get a power fist here.
Mm.
Now it's just. I think you look at the page. You're like, okay, what's the most optimum gear? I'll
Yeah,
buy it,
just
and
do it.
that's it. And
This is why I like Heresy, because it retains that.
it retains
You-
that. Yes.
It's a dance between what it does to your initiative versus how
Exactly.
hard it hits. So you want to hit really hard with a Thunderhammer? Cool, that's -2 your initiative. If you want to hit even harder with a Power Fist, oh, it's -3. If you want to hit very lightly but early, oh, you've got a Power Spear, +1 initiative, but nothing special. That balance of what tool do I want, and the drawbacks that it comes with, and the benefits it brings you, versus the points it costs.
Looking at all different systems with the same concept has been also nice. It feels like while 40k is going down the route of, just pick whatever, but like in a drop fleet, you'll have just minor upgrades, like very minor. Like you can change your ships into mines. That's it. But in Infinity, it's a whole different thing. It's a lot like Heresy, where, you want this weapon, or you're going to pay for it. Oh, you want this specific, like you can make a guy like a medic,
Hmm.
you're going to pay
And
for it.
That list building was part of the fun as well. Yeah.
Become an accountant, basically.
I remember, guys, 4th or 5th edition, the Demons Codex, one of the worst but best codexes ever. I would look at my friends, I'd tell them, guys, give me half an hour, please, because I had to build a list and then spend 10 or 15 minutes rolling dice. There's no picking, no cherry picking, saying, today I would take this, whatever, enchantment and this. I had to roll the dice. And then if you'd hear me shouting, no, that means I rolled poorly.
Yeah.
And I got the worst upgrade, like, I'd pay 50 points for a best enchant and then roll the dice, +1 wound. No, come on. And you look at the other options is you move double distance, you charge double. That was the best part. Sometimes I would walk in as a Super Saiyan, and then sometimes I'd walk in and I am super weak. It's not fun at all. Yeah. But that's all gone now. And it's just you cherry pick. You say I want 1, 2, 3, and let's play.
That started in 1st edition 40k, that you would roll for your equipment.
Yeah.
Like, what does this guy have? A random selection of grenades and abilities.
Yeah.
And like some characters, for example, Inquisitors, you can take 1d6 -3 Inquisitors. So if you roll a 1, 2, or 3, you cannot take any. And you kind of roll up to the game and go, roll your dice. Oh no, I can't take any of these guys.
Yeah.
I think that's something in all of us that love wargaming, is that we love charts.
We love charts, we love tables, we love boxes, we love
Play.
references.
We love references. Yeah.
Dense rules, I think, is what also makes us Big difference. Yeah.
but I do not miss flipping through the pages. Special rules are 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, it says this, and then what's the other rule? Wait 1 second. I don't miss that.
Yeah.
I do not miss that.
I feel spoiled on that because if a game doesn't have a proper app, I'm less likely to play it.
Oh, I never experienced that.
Yeah.
I had to walk in with 5 books and just go, that's my rules right there. Trust me, please. I don't want to flip through them and show you
It's like
We don't have to bring the library to a Heresy match anymore.
anymore.
Thanks to new recruit.
yeah. General Cross is amazing for 3rd edition. At first, it was a bit of a mess, like it was all over the place. I mean, recently I checked it out, and no, list building is very clear, like on what's what and how do you get the bonuses and stuff.
I think once you get used to how the list building works, it makes a whole lot more sense. When you look at new recruit and go, how do I build an army? It doesn't help you. It relies on you knowing what you want and what you want to take.
But yeah, I'd recommend honestly just for someone trying out how does list building work in 3rd, just check out the Custodes list building because you have less options. You'll be less overwhelmed with like what is happening right now. You just see a shield captain, tribune. Okay, that's the HQ, and then they can give you different detachments, and then you can fill them however you want. But it's very straightforward a lot, which is amazing.
I couldn't get around the whole detachment thing when it became. When did they start this whole detachment? 7th, was it?
8th
8th.
had detachments, but 9th kind of changed the detachment approach.
I couldn't do it, man. I'm old school org chart. 1 HQ, 3 troops, and then you can expand, get another HQ, 3 troops, 3 elites, 3 fast, 3 heavies.
I was used to that, and
To go.
2.0 Heresy was basically that.
It was that, right?
Yeah, it was exactly that.
Yeah.
See, I felt very constricted by that. And I was only looking for ways to break that chain of either making elites troops or making everything elites and just trying to mess around with that because I didn't like 3 troops, 3 fast attack, 3 heavy. I'm used to looking at 2nd edition rules where it was 25% up to characters, up to 50% vehicles, up to 100% troops. Off you go.
Off you go.
So
That's a nice one as well.
You have that vast range of being able to do any of it. And I feel like Heresy does that again, that you can pick anything. And you're not set at, oh, I have to have Terminators, or I have to have...
Right.
I mean, you sort of have to have tactical squads, but that's kind of the point of the setting.
Well, you can't go into battle without them. You have to, at least a squad. There has to be, yeah.
But that was kind of why the Rise of 4 were there as well, like in last edition. So Rise of 4 really played around with the list building because they would, for example, I remember World Eaters would have 2 Rise of 4 and one would make your Predators as fast attack. It was stupid. You could run like 12 tanks. They sucked. It really sucked. They get like blown up with one shot.
Oh, yeah.
But,
those one-shot wonders, yeah.
But why not?
Is it still a thing for 3.0?
No.
No.
Oh, if you're hit by the right weapon, it can be over in one shot. But not because it's a fluke. It's because that's what the weapon is designed to do.
Okay.
If you hit it with the wrong weapon, probably nothing. So the days of I'm shooting las cannons at a Land Raider, hoping for an armor pen, and then hoping for a 6 on the damage table, that you can pop a Land Raider at any point. You don't pop them anymore unless you're using a melter cannon and the real ordnance weapons that can take all the hull points in one go. You can't just whoops, rolled a 6 for damage, +1 for a las cannon. Here, you exploded. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, they kind of took the Rights of War and put them in the specific legions detachments.
Your Rights of War have become your special gambits in challenges, your advanced reaction that's unique to each legion, your different detachments, and also the legion special rule. So World Eaters +1 attack on the charge still.
It's the same as, yeah.
So they're all there. Those Rights of War you're used to from 2nd edition that were 6 special rules, pick one, it does something to your army. Those don't exist anymore. But the range of rules that you can use is still different per legion. So the flavor is still there. It's just not as clearly obvious, and you can't mix and match as much.
There are no restrictions now, yeah?
Not particularly.
No. Because in 2nd, sometimes I think the restrictions would be, I don't remember, but they were also thematic. Like they wouldn't just restrictions that try to make your gameplay worse, whatever, but like they would reinforce the concept of that Rite of War.
Like, think of Blood Angels. You could either pick Day of Revelations, which is we pick a turn and drop whatever we've got that can drop on that turn. Or there was Day of Sorrows, which is when you've killed enough of my guys, we get really sad and emo and go crazy. And it gave you a play style for that army. Whereas now the Legion Tacticas don't lead you in any particular direction generally. I mean, yes, World Eaters are good at combat. Okay. But they're not taking you down a certain route of which troops to choose or which units to choose. You can fill up those detachments however you want. You want to do it the way that you would have done it in second with those kind of thematic forces, you can absolutely do those, but you don't have to anymore.
But doesn't that take away from the flavor a bit?
I think it does, and I think what it's also done is balanced the legions a lot better. Yes, they're not as vastly different as they used to be, but they still have their own flavor because of the way you can build your army through the detachments. Actually, there's as much flavor as you want to put into it. It just doesn't guide you in a certain direction.
I don't know. Like they could have, instead of removing those, they could have added more Rites of War that added different base styles for each legion that kept it still thematic. Because legions had a lot of different sections that used to do their own thing. Like it wasn't just, we're just either one or two. No, they weren't like that. So I love that thematic approach of building your list around a specific theme. I know it doesn't work every time. It made some legions a bit weaker, but I think it could have been fixed by just adding more into the edition rather than starting from scratch. You could have technically still had the Rites of War and the new detachments style. Like, what is really stopping you from doing that? I know it would have been a bit more complicated, but I mean, why do we play this game? So we're not playing it because it's easy, We love that depth because the more rules a game have, the more cinematic the fights become, which is the main drive for us, I think, more so than okay. I mean, we're doing it for the theme, but the system is what carries that theme. And if you keep on removing from it, you're losing that flavor. I just wish they would have went with like more Rites of War.
I think that you can still have that flavor if you build your guys that way. It may not be optimal, but it might be fun. And the point of the Heresy is they're not as focused as chapters are in 40k. So Blood Angels in 40k are, we do jump packs, we are crazy, we drink blood, and that's about it. Whereas in Heresy, they had artillery companies, they had war crimes divisions, they still had the vampire thirst, but they kept it more under control because it was meant to be more of a secret shame back then to stop them being wiped out. Whereas in 40k, it's kind of everybody knows. So the flavor is still there, not quite to the same extent, I'd have to admit. But in the way you build your forces, you can bring that back any way you like. There's the prime advantages that are unique to each legion, the advanced reaction, their special rule, as well as their challenge gambit. You put all those together and you play with their special units, and all of a sudden you've got the flavor I think you might be missing. Or you can ignore all of that and just pick a totally generic, could be any legion force, tacticals, tanks, troops, elites, terminators, without even thinking about special characters, without thinking about the special units that legion has. And you can still make something very effective that's very generic. And it's just a case of lean into the bit you like and make that happen. And I think that might fix it for you.
And if you're not happy with that, just wait 3 years.
Yeah, I mean,
Is Heresy popular enough to be a 3-year game again?
yeah, and yeah, oh my god. So you just made like Sam almost had me, and you just went and
I can have you for the next 2.5 years.
yes.
There we go. There we go.
Then we'll see what they do.
Then we're gonna see who. Maybe Suhail's gonna be the.
I will.
Maybe 40k will be amazing by then.
That would be amazing.
Let's wait and see.
Let's not push it on.
Or we'll just play Blood Bowl in 2nd edition forever.
Yes,
That's something I look forward to as well. Blood Bowl.
Necromunda.
Or Necromunda. See, look at that. It's, yeah.
We were talking about Necromunda yesterday.
We were. Yep. I promised you that we will definitely dive into that. See, 2 things I have to do. get the Horus Heresy army back into shape. I'm ashamed that Adam has defeated me and has 3K now, right? He played his 3K.
He did play 3K. He had a couple of models he borrowed
Doesn't
with
matter.
Castellax, but he had a 3K.
Yeah, the 3K army. I need to step up my game and grow from 500 points. I promised Simon a millennium ago, at least 1,000 points, right? We or 1.5 was it? No, we went to 1.5.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Yeah, so that's on pause. Then come to Necromunda. Infinity would
Wait,
have to wait.
Hold up.
Okay, yes.
Necromunda,
Yeah.
your gang is ready.
Look at that. The gang's ready.
You've been called out.
Yeah, the gang's ready.
You don't have to paint anything. You don't have to build anything.
I'm down.
It's literally there.
I'm down to roll some dice. Necromunda is in. We'll draw and we'll let Simon be the GM for Blood Bowl. So we'll let him off the hook this time.
All this work.
Yes, we'll join him in the Blood Bowl. Yeah, for a couple of weeks, I'll be with the gas mask on. Until that buzz. Yeah, I'm Krieging. I'm like vibing with Krieg so much, man.
Nice.
Yeah. So once the Krieg is over, yeah, we'll have a couple of simultaneous sessions.
I love how like every episode, by this time we just diverge into different games.
I don't even want to know how I'm going to edit this
Yeah.
ramble. What's going to go where? We're going to find out.
I saw it in your face.
Yeah, it's like I can just see like it's the mile marker is just off 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles. We got to come back.
You should pull us back in.
Apologies.
No, I'm just letting you go, guys.
How we're gonna go? Like
It's just a conversation. That's
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's to include people into the way we play, what we think,
yeah,
But-
for sure.
and that's just part of the Meelas. We just, chat shit.
And preach, yeah.
But I think that tells you the kind of experience you get at the Meelas and the different ways you can be pulled of what's interesting to you.
Definitely.
Nobody makes you play anything you don't want to play. But there's always the opportunity to say, have you seen this? What do you think of that? Is that cool? Because bring your own game that we might think is cool,
Yep.
that we haven't experienced yet.
We'd love that.
That's another thing that we can do here.
Yes.
I mean, that's how we got introduced to Infinity with Jagosh and the Baltic with Demo.
And that's where I got traumatized. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're still.
I'm still traumatized. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, don't worry. We're gonna play, a tutorial, a more calm. setting.
And then the Viking meme is just gonna
Just in
come
the-
back. Yeah.
the arrows.
The arrows. Yeah. The Viking takes a step forward and gets attacked with 1,000 arrows. That's what it felt like. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, it was.
That's what happens when you walk in front of a bunch of guns trained at you in
Sure.
this game.
So I got armor on, Simon. I can go guns blazing.
You were playing Ariadna. It was the least armored army in the game.
Well, I didn't know better.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You need to give it a chance.
Well, I will give it a chance, but we have other things on the plate. So,
Yeah.
Horus Heresy
mean-
definitely, Necromunda, Blood Bowl.
There's also a few new games coming out.
What? StarCraft's on the way.
I feel StarCraft has probably missed the point where it could have been. If this had been 5, maybe even 10 years ago, you'd be like, wow, StarCraft minis game. Whereas how long ago was Wings of Liberty?
Yeah.
Oh,
You're way off. You're
Way
way off. Yeah.
Like that was a long time back, and now it's not like there's much to capitalize on. I think a lot of people have stopped playing Blizzard games generally. I look at it and go, that would have been nice before.
before, yeah.
Back in the-
Yeah.
It's not going to draw me in because it's StarCraft now.
Yeah. Its system is interesting. It has some aspects of 40k, but also has alternating activation. There's also activations.
Okay.
So I don't know how that's gonna play, but again, that's what we do. We try things out, see how it goes, and it looks interesting. We'll see. I mean, we're gonna try 40k now. We're gonna see if that's interesting.
Sure.
We're trying StarCraft. See if that's interesting. We're trying Infinity properly.
Modifius just gave the sneak peek that they'll be doing an XCOM miniatures game, which is like 10 years out of date. You could have been doing that
Yeah.
long time back.
With the hype. Yeah. Like GW is doing that right with the Space Marines and the Orcs, and now Dawn of War. and Total War.
Exactly. Space Marine 2 was a big hit because Space Marine 1 was a hit, but Space Marine 2 went a slightly more mainstream. Let's capitalize on it. Titus is everywhere.
Yeah.
Now we're into Dawn of War 4 coming out and be hopefully amazing. We've capitalized on Total Warhammer 1, 2, and 3 and tried to push the old world with that as well.
Yeah.
Like they're doing it right and trying to keep that. I know that the lead time on miniatures is like 18 months, 2 years, the way these rules are produced, but they are keeping their finger on the pulse with how it works, more so than other places.
Definitely.
Also, there was
John Blanche's On Guard Vanguard. So John Blanche, the creator, the visionary behind Grimdark that we all know and love, that everybody will have seen a John Blanche sketch of something that's been in 40k. That classic kind of red and ochre palette, the feeling that comes with it, that gets translated through into the model eventually. He's working with Thomas Pernin, who did Mordheim, Warhammer 6th edition, Trench Crusade, to do a 54mm dueling game, like cutlasses and pistols type dueling. And this is the minis before the game comes out. So the Vanguard aspect is the minis coming first, and then later on the game is coming. Now, anybody who listens to this podcast on the day it comes out, you have like 24 hours to get in on the Kickstarter if you are interested in it.
It is the same scale as Inquisitor.
Yeah.
The same scale, exact same scale. Which is huge comparatively.
And it's really translating his types of vision and sketches into models more directly, even than 40k was doing back in the day. So it could be interesting. And I mean, Mordheim and Warhammer and Trench Crusade all have fine rule sets. So I expect Thomas Pernin to write a dueling game would be very interesting
to see. From what I remember, it will be like one model versus one model, and each duelist will have their own stuff. So it's gonna be interesting to see a skirmish game instead of one squad. Just be two guys fighting.
Two guys.
Just two guys.
Which is a little battle arena,
Battle arena.
But for now, minis only.
For now,
And
minis only.
I think they were after $10,000 and I've got 117 odd thousand when I looked at it today. So I think there's appetite for it.
Still Blanche, man. It's
I mean, he's got his paint set. He's got his influence on Grimdark and 40k.
he's doing his own thing now.
He deserves to do whatever he wants to do, to be fair.
Way well on top.
And good for us, we haven't touched the fancy side of everything. Old world, AOS. We'll leave that for another time.
Yet is the word we needed to add to that. We haven't touched the fantasy side
yet.
Hassan would be disappointed, but
No,
I will follow.
I kind of promised him that.
You do have your fire slayers.
I do. That's your first attempt of luring me back. Yeah.
Oh yeah, back then I used to play a lot of AOS.
Yes.
Second edition was
Yes.
amazing. I loved it.
You fooled me into buying them. I did, and it's now sat on my desk. I keep staring at them like I shall. I don't think you've noticed. I've snuck a couple of Fire Slayer pots from you, the paints.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Warriors,
hopefully. Sometime in 2026 or 2027, I might get to the Fire Slayers.
after the Krieg, after the Imperial Fists, after the Crimson Fists.
After the Infinity.
I never said anything about Crimson Fist, but
I mean, if you're glad, it might as well, huh?
it might as well. Yeah, might as well. Yeah.
It's already on the list.
It's already.
Can't go back. Yeah.
So Valra keeps pushing the idea. Pedro's coming soon. You see me like drooling. Show me.
He's feeding off that energy,
Yeah, he is. I blame him, man.
That's the way. What else do we have? Oh, there's also Maze Breaker got announced today.
Maze Breaker.
Yes.
Their next starter set, that's right.
Yes.
Ah.
It is. It's going to be Aleph Operations versus Nomad Corregidor. So basically AI hunters versus prison guards.
That's not the weirdest mashup I've ever heard.
No.
Okay.
And they're going with something a bit weird with Corregidor now. They have 2 forces. It will be deep space. Like, it's going to be like a sub faction, a sectorial, which is the models look awesome, of course. Infinity's models are always gorgeous. The new Aleph you might like actually. It's more like techie, slim, lots of robots, scary to fight. But yeah, that's Mazebreaker. Looking forward to see what they.
That's a weird one. I never pick the overpowered unit. Are they overpowered or
They're good.
they're good?
They're
That's
good.
weird. That's new
Like,
for me.
The only time I played against them, just one guy ran through my whole army of just shotgunning everyone in the face.
All right.
So that wasn't fun.
I typically.
Not for me at least. But yeah, no, you chose a good faction.
That's a first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always end up with the underdog uphill battle army. I'm like, challenge accepted. I didn't plan this. I didn't look at. I just looked at the minis. I'm like, yep, they look good.
Good enough.
Great. Yeah, good enough.
Rule of cool.
Rule of cool.
Rule of cool.
Rule of cool.
But yeah, Mazebreaker is coming. I mean, it's funny because they announced it today, and 30 minutes later, it's already on pre-order.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not the biggest hype machine in the world.
No.
Why not? Why do you need that 4 months of just waiting and
The tease.
and getting teased constantly? Khalas, it's revealed.
11th edition.
Give it. Yeah, just dropping just tiny rules every day, like just tiny bits of my army. What am I gonna do with that? Like, I want to see the whole picture to really evaluate if it's worth or not. But just showing me the new box and having it on pre-order 30 minutes later, honestly, that was amazing for me. I love that. I know what I'm getting. I know how much it's worth. I don't know, that's just me though. I guess we like to be teased.
It's not a choice.
Like a little bit of tease.
Yeah, a little bit, but
To be fair, they did tease it like a month ago. They showed the map,
yeah.
and then in April they showed like a teaser, and now in May in the UK Games Expo, I think they revealed the box, and it's gonna be on pre-order in June.
I can't even recall how we used to get the updates back then, because there was no Warhammer community.
For me, the super old was White Dwarf.
White Dwarf, right?
You only interacted with your community, which was your friends you played with regularly, and what was in White Dwarf. For me, that was before they had websites. And you go into the store every so often and get the sneak preview, but it was only through White Dwarf. That was, if you only had one 150-page magazine every month, you had to just rely on that for your information, and that built the hype every single.
And then it got transferred to the forums. Warseer had the rumor pages, and just keep going, reading the rumors, and who do you believe? And now it's onto YouTube.
You've got your Warcom, you've got your Valrak, you've got your people who talk about it professionally, who make money out of it and keep going, and you've got all of these different ways into it, which is why, in terms of Mazebreaker, that's all you need to do, because that word for the interested parties goes out like lightning across all the socials you follow, across all the notifications. It's in your newsletter, all these places. And you can do that kind of tease to release very quickly. Whereas for GW, Warhammer is their flagship, and they are going to drip feed every little last bit, because somebody will be interested by every one of those drips, but it won't be the same person for all of them. And they're just trying to soak up as much attention as possible to say, bang, here's it finally, you can order it.
Yeah, you can order that.
And it sucks. No, that's my feel, you know, like, okay, you're gonna drop it, you're gonna tease me, and then it's not gonna be that good. That's what I'm afraid of. Like, if you're gonna tease me and then it's gonna be amazing, fine, tease all you want.
Well, no accounting for taste.
It's just banter. I don't really hate it. If I play it, I know I'm gonna enjoy it. You know, it's, again, Wargaming is not really just about the game system. It's also about who you're playing with.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I'm trying to.
Yeah.
We could make fun out of rolling a single dice each.
Yes.
As long as you and the other you enjoy it, that doesn't matter what you're playing, man.
Does not matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
If you're playing it with the right people, with the same mentality, with the same hype, it does not matter what you play. All games are fun when you're playing with friends and That's all that matters in the end.
At the end of the day, that's what matters, right?
And the Meelas is a great place to find that.
Amen. Preach.
Perfect. I think that about wraps everything up. If visiting the Meelas sounds like your kind of thing, then drop us a DM on Instagram at ad.wargaming. You can find us in our next episode of the Meelas podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and we're also now on YouTube as an audiogram, so you can listen and don't need to put up with YouTube's auto subtitles to see the words of us scroll by. So thank you very much for listening to the show. Thank you, Ibrahim, for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you, Suhail, for spending this time with us too.
Pleasure.
And we will see you all in our next episode.
Yes, sir. And
Take care. Thank you
don't
so much,
forget
everyone.
don't forget to start new armies. Always.